actually get into how to increase our influence. People of positive influence add value to others. Add value to others. And I think this is very, very true. People of influence add value to others. So, success, so adding value to others, think about that. Success is when we, so, you know, there are many definitions of success. If I asked all of you, we went around the room, we're not going to do it, but we went around the room and I asked you, what's your definition of success? You probably all have a different definition. John Maxwell's definition of success, I love this. He says that success is when I add value to myself. Okay? That's when I add value to myself. But significance, and this is where we want to get to. Okay? Remember, it's not about us, it's about others. So this is where we want to get to. Significance is when we add value to others. When we add value to others. And we as leaders want to do that because when we add value to others, we're going to get what we want. That's huge. That is huge. By the way, it's so huge, you're going to see that again. Okay? So you want to remember that. Success is when we add value to myself, and significance is when I add value to others. Okay? If you didn't catch it, that's a weak link. You're going to see that one again. All right? So, now, so we're wondering, all right, so leadership's influence, nothing more, nothing less. How do I grow my influence with people? So that's what we're going to talk. There's a bad echo. Is this too loud or? Huh? Just adjust the, what is the volume? Okay. All right. Is that better? Yeah. I'm not hearing it now, so good. Okay. So we want to know then what the solution is to increase our influence. So with that, the first one, and so what we're going to do is we're going to do an acrostic, like we did with leader. So the I, the N, the F, the L, U, okay? So that'll be a good way for us to learn it and to remember it. So 10 ways that an influencer gains influence. The first one that you really want to take note of, because you're going to see it again, wink, wink, is integrity with people. Integrity with people. And I have found, and we've talked about this, integrity with people. We want to have integrity with people. Let me read that paragraph there by Dwight Eisenhower, who was one of the greatest generals and then presidents of the United States. And why he was so effective as a leader was because he was a man of integrity. He actually, when the United States and Britain teamed up with France, teamed up to help France, free France, and Germany was invading France, trying to take over that territory. Eisenhower was the general at that time, the commander of everything. And he had another general who got drunk one night and started spouting off their plan for how they were going to win and beat the Germans and keep them from taking over France. And when Eisenhower found out that he had, and then they went and told the Germans, so that plan was just compromised, yeah. So when Eisenhower found out, he brought the general in, who was a good friend of his. And he said, I heard you said this last night at the bar. You were drunk. Is it true? He said, yes. And he said, you're out of here. You're fired. And he was dishonorably discharged. And he lost a great retirement because he was a general, because he had done that, bless you. But Eisenhower had integrity. So this is a wonderful paragraph, and I want to read it. In order to be a leader, a man must have followers. And to have followers, a man or woman, okay, this one doesn't give it, must have their confidence. Hence, the supreme quality for a leader is unquestionably integrity. Without it, no real success is possible, no matter whether it is on a section game, a football field, or an army, or in an office. If a man's associates find him guilty of phoniness, if they find that he lacks forthright integrity, he will fail. His teachings and actions must square with each other. The first great need, therefore, is integrity and high purpose. So integrity is so true that integrity with people is how you're going to increase your influence. And there actually was a study of over 1,300 senior executives of companies, and they asked them, what was the most important thing to you as a CEO of your company? And 71% of those CEOs said integrity. Integrity. And it is so important. There in your book on 21, there's a story. Now, some of you are probably too young to even know anything about this. But do any of you who are older like me remember the Tylenol scare? Tylenol was made by a company, an international company called Johnson & Johnson, and Tylenol helps with pain. And back years ago, they found that somebody had tampered in the manufacturing of Tylenol, and some people had died. So the president of the company had always said, this was part of their mission, that they would operate with honesty and integrity. So he was always checking with his managers, are you sharing this with your people? We're always going to be operating with honesty and integrity. Yes, yes, yes. So when the Tylenol scare happened and people died, the CEO immediately made a $100 million decision. It cost them $100 million and took Tylenol off the shelves because they didn't know what caused those people to die. So they took every bottle all over the world of Tylenol off the shelves. It was a $100 million decision. But he said, there in your book, there's a little summary of what happened. He said it didn't take him any time to make that decision because it was part of their mission, that they were going to operate with honesty and integrity. So he was able to make that costly decision, but it was the right decision. That's right. So in that little paragraph, that's a great statement at the very end, the last sentence. He said, this was the CEO, it's always easy to do right when you know ahead of time what you stand for. Isn't that true? Isn't that true? It's a great statement. In John Maxwell's 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, one of the laws is the law of solid ground. The law of solid ground. And the law of solid ground says that to have integrity, You need character and confidence. You need character and confidence. That's not in your book, that's just a little extra, no charge for that, okay? But the law of solid ground says to have integrity, you must need character and confidence. And that CEO of Johnson & Johnson had both of those, didn't he?
Yes.
In your book, Abraham Lincoln said, when I lay down the reins of this administration, and Abraham Lincoln in America is known as one of the greatest presidents that we have. Abraham Lincoln said, when I lay down the reins of this administration. Okay, wait, here's talking. What, is there a question on something? Was everything clear? Huh? You need character and confidence. So he had the confidence to make that $100 million decision because he had integrity that that company was going to operate with honesty and integrity. Right. But Abraham Lincoln said, when I lay down the reins of this administration, I want to have one friend left, and that friend is inside of me. And of course, he was executed. But he's still known as one of the greatest presidents of the United States, even after all those years. Notre Dame football coach Lee Holtz, who is one of the, he's a great motivational speaker and a great football coach, okay? But he said that doing what's right, do what's right. Do the best you can and treat others the way you want to be treated, because they will ask you, people that you work with will ask you 3 questions. And he used to say this to his players, okay? The players would ask him, can I trust you? Or he would ask his players, can I trust you? Do you believe this? Are you committed to this? Do you have a passion for this as a player on this football team? Do you care about me as a person? Those are the questions that he would ask. Integrity is not what we do so much as who we are. The more credible you are, the more confidence people will place in you. Okay? So, the I is for integrity. The N is for nurtures people. Nurtures people. Many leaders love their position more than their people. And can't you tell that? Yes. They love their position more than they love their people. But when that happens, leaders soon lose their position. When you start loving your position more than you love your people, that's going to reflect in the job that y'all are all doing, that your team is doing, and many times you're either going to be fired or demoted, or, you're not going to last in that position. So we've got to care about our people. There in your book, I think it's on page 33, there's a quote by Margaret Smith. It says, my parents have been visiting me. This is a little funny. My parents have been visiting me for a few days. I drop them off at the airport. They leave tomorrow. So, that's not very nurturing, is it? Few leaders love their people more than their position. When that happens, leaders strengthen their position. When you think more about your people than you do the position you hold, then what happens is that you actually strengthen your position as a leader, and your influence increases with your people. Okay? So, leaders are nurturers of people. And when I say nurture, I'm not talking about needing people. I need you. I've got to have talking about you're building up, you're nurturing them, you're helping them grow, you're helping them accomplish what they want to accomplish, okay? Which will help you accomplish what you want to accomplish. There in your book on page, I think it's 34, John Maxwell, there's a quote where he says, you can't lead people if you need the people. You can't lead people if you need people. I mean, do we have to have people to accomplish our mission, our ministry? Yes. But there, again, I'm not talking about dependency, okay? I'm just talking about needing them in a positive way, working together as a team. Okay? A little about nurturing, and you want to remember this, because you're going to see this one again. Okay? So, nurturing people does not mean needing people. Not that one. Don't put a note on that one. This is the one you're going to need to remember. B. Okay? You're going to see it again. Nurturing people does mean that you will make a commitment to people. That you will make a commitment to people. There in your book it says love will find a way, indifference will find an excuse. And I've always heard this, and you know what an excuse is? Yeah. What is it? An excuse is a well-planned lie. So when somebody gives you an excuse, just think, all right, that's a well-planned lie. A well-planned lie. That's not in your book. That's a little extra. No cost for you guys. I'll give that one to you free. Okay? Nurturing people does mean you will make a commitment to people. You want to remember that. That you're going to see again. And this next one you're going to see again. Okay? Nurturing people does mean loving people. Loving people. Can't you tell when a leader truly loves and cares about you? And I'm not talking about some, firm love. And I'm talking about the kind of love that we get from God. That we truly love people. We care about people. There in your book, Henry Drummond said, you will find as you look back upon your life that the moments when you have really lived are the moments when you have done things in a spirit of love, of true love. Nurturing people does mean lifting people to a higher level. Lifting people to a higher level. Let me show you what I mean about this. Beatrice, could you come be my example on something? Beatrice is so quiet, and I already know her personality style. She's not comfortable in the front of a room. That's why I'm putting her here. So this is how this works. You always want to lift your people up. Okay? So let's say Beatrice and I work together, and I'm being negative and putting, you just go down with me, bend your knee. And I'm putting Beatrice down, I'm discouraging her, treating her badly. What happens to me as a leader as I do that? But when I lift Beatrice up and say, you got this sweet spirit, I just love everything about you, I love how you help, you've got that gift of help. What happened to me as a leader? I lifted myself up. So we always thank you. Give Beatrice a hand. So to increase our influence with people, we want to maybe not a hard leader, but we want to hold them to certain standards.
Yes.
And so that they respect them. But we want to lift people up. Okay, any questions on that? That's how we nurture people. All right? So, I is for integrity, N is for nurturing, F in the word influence is for we want to have faith in people. We want to have faith in people. We want to believe in people. There in your book, Walter Emerson said, every man is entitled to be valued by his best moments. And I'm sure that Eunice, in her counseling experience, have you ever counseled, and probably some of you pastors and people in ministry, have you ever counseled anybody that's like a new couple and they're going to get married? Got on marriage and everything. When they come in, you look out the window, you see them drive up in the vehicle, and she's sitting right next to him, all cozy. And he walks around to the other side of the car, and he opens the door, and she scoots out. And, but she was sitting right over by the steering wheel. Why don't she just get on out? But anyway, to be very courteous, he helps her, holds her hand and arm and helps her into the office, to your office. You see this. They come into your office, they're in love, and they sit down on top of each other on the couch. Well, right next to each other. And they just love each other. And so here's the counselor, the pastor, ask them, do you have a job? No.